Hello. So this should have been a video talking about my biggest army, the Kraken Knights. But then I got some old minifigurines, and I kind of want to talk about those instead. So let's just put the Kraken Knights here to the side, and I will probably make a video next week about those. But I found these old minifigurines for cheap at somewhere, and I kind of want to talk about how I'm going to use them in my campaign and what I think about them, because I think some of them are really cool. Like, I know I got three different versions of I think it's Kai, his name is, but each of them has I have basically interesting parts I can use for my friends can use to make characters on. So yeah, that's is basically what we're going to talk about. So let's start with the Kais here. Now we have a Kai here without a hood and what looks like to be a sleeveless uniform, and I think it's really good if people want to make like a monk or whatever they feel like to making. And even the hairpiece, I think it's quite good to make interesting character with. So I kind of like this design really much. Um, Plus, he's just a cool little guy. Then we have this version here, and I don't think I know what it means, but he has this interesting face that looks like he's scarred by fire and everything. And I even got a second one of those heads. So if one of my players wants to make a scarred warrior of some kind, it would fit really well. But also the uniform that looks like it's completely burned really could fit well into me making some kind of warriors that use a lot of fire, like he's using. Even the weapons he comes with, these shooters, is going to work really well for making mages. So all in all, I think this character looks really cool. Moving on to the last one, this is probably my least favorite one of them. He has this interesting scarf piece that if you take off his helmet you can see it's interesting and will fit a rogue if really well, but I know that there's a lot of different ones that I think it's better of them. And then he has this hood piece which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's basically made to fit this one scarf. But all in all, the torso, I think it's cool and will be really fun making some custom warriors with it. And then we move on to what I think is a little more interesting. I got this minifigurine of I think it's the Jay, who is the Thunder Ninja, but he came without his wings. But that was not really what I was interested in. What I was interested in was actually his torso. I think this one will make really well to making a thunder elemental of some kinds, like Americanian or what it's called. I don't actually remember what it's called. There's this summoning being that druids can make high level. I think that will fit really well into. Even his head is this interesting piece that is transparent and it's seen all over it. And I kind of like this. So while I'm not going to probably using the armor piece here because of this thing right here, unless I'm going to give him some massive dragon wings. I think all in all, these pieces, including the helmet, I can talk about this helmet, makes really well into someone who wants to focus on one element and want to show it. And I know since it's a hood, it's pretty limited of who can use it, but for monsters I actually think they're going to be really interesting to work with. Moving on to these guys here. Now I got this guy here. I don't know what I'm going to be using him for, but I like his armor piece. His hairpiece is pretty cool, but also his weapon, this transparent katana. I probably could make some kind of quest with. I haven't figured it completely out yet, but I think that is a really cool one. Plus he came in a really cheap set with the other guy. I didn't have a lot to say to him. But all in all, I think he's a fine minifigurine. He's not my favorite of the lot, but all in all, looks pretty cool. But it's mostly the pieces I'm interested in. Moving on to what I'm calling probably going to have joining my undead army. I got these two ghost guys here, who's basically the same character. But what's really interesting about these is the tattered rope. The leg pieces is this ghostly forms that I think would work really well in making ghosts. And then of course the transparent ghost head. I can try to show it. I'm doing really well, as always. These skull ghost head works really well because I'm also my first part of my campaign is my players are going to be fighting a lot of skeletons and undead, and I think these characters going to be really well into introducing ghosts and ghouls into my world. So while I haven't figured out completely what I'm going to be using them for, I'm probably going to be looking up what kind of enemies that can be low-level ghosts, but also really interesting to make fighting, and probably building some quest about taking down. But it's the headpiece and the leg piece I really find interesting, and these tattered rope also makes really well for low-level bandits, I think. And I actually like that they don't have ghoulish hands here, because that means, just like the D&D CMF, that they pretty much can fit a lot of different characters, because they're basically just having gloves on. Then I got this skull dude here. Now, I know that most of his pieces are on pick a brick, but I actually kind of liked them, so I just bought him because I thought he looked cool. But he has this mouthpiece I really like, and I think he's going to be really well into making. I think it's called a Death Shepherd, which is basically a little higher level undead used to revive other undeads. Even come with this cool armor piece that I really like. So while he isn't the most wow figurines in this lot, I really like him because he's just a silly little guy. Moving on to the next figurine, and we return to the idea of this ghost. Now, he doesn't have a transparent head, which it's completely fine, but I think I could use this head to make some kind of different race, or just use as a ghost. Even with him hiding in the hood, it just looks really well. But of course he has a translucent leg, and again tattered rope, which I've already talked about with the other ghost guys here. I really like. And then he comes with a black shield. And this shield I really find interesting, because I think I only have them in grey, so it makes it easier for me to make special customs. But it's actually his weapon I find the most interesting. Now we have this ball and chain weapon, with a sai, a lightsaber hilt, and a horn made to build it, and then this basically ball and chain, which even if I don't use it for a weapon, you can put it behind, and suddenly you have a character who is in prison. They can have a ball and chain on, so restricting movement with it, and really well going to do well for world buildings, or punishing my players if they are going out of lines with what they're going to be doing. So all in all, I really like this piece right here. Also the hood, I actually think it's pretty cool. This more tattered form of it, I think would fit a rogue really well. And the last one is probably my favorite of them, the Blizzard Samurai. Now, this is basically because I love having unique monsters in my world. I don't have any of them. Oh well, I have one. I have this ghostly dragonian that I'm going to be using a little bit. But this one, I think I probably could make some big quest about and making him kind of like a mini boss of some kind. But even if I don't use him as an asset, these pieces right here, if one of my players wants to make an ice mage, this is going to be a good way to represent that they are basically focusing on ice, which is an element that I think I don't have a lot to show for. And then of course his helmet, this frozen crown like thingy, I personally think it's a really cool one. It's just a cool pieces. And of course his torso and legs really shows that he's completely frozen. So all in all, I really like this little minifigurine. And the lot itself, I can try to get all of them inside the picture. It's just a funny amalgamation of all kinds of different characters to work around with. The pieces are interesting, and I think I can make a lot of interesting encounters with it in my D&D world. So yeah, this has been a little improvised video because I finally got this lot in. I also got this mini build with, I think it was these two. It cost me almost, was really cheap. That's why I think I bought these two. But all in all, I really liked the lot itself, and I hope you enjoyed and have a nice day.